we're back. Today we are going to put cruise control on a 1984 Chevy C10 with a Gen 4 LS swap in it, okay? I've heard people say it's not possible, but I'm here to tell you it is possible. And we're gonna do it today, and I'm gonna let you know everything that you need to know to do it yourself. And it will look like the 84. It will not have anything funny in it. You're gonna think it's a 1984 Chevy truck when you sit in it, okay?
Yeah, we're not gonna just tape buttons to the steering wheel or anything.
No, even though that would be easier. Okay, so let's get to it.
Let's do it.
All right, so why is it so difficult on a Gen 4? When Gen 4 come around, like this 2007, they started going to this style switch. They used to kind of look like that, you know. This is the one that would go into this truck. It has 4 wires total, okay? And this thing has 2 wires total that does everything. So we're gonna have to make one of these switches do what this thing does with just 2 wires, okay. All right? The 2 wires, we've got a body control module that we wired in the other day for air conditioning already. Go back and watch that video. But we're gonna have our body control module send out 12 volts to this switch, and it just has this one return signal back to it that does everything that we need it to do. It does it using resistors, okay? Fortunately, because it could say logic. If it said logic, then we'd just be in big trouble. It'd be a module that does that. So in this case, we can come in here and we can make that switch do what we want it to do using resistors. And I'd say looking at it, it's easy or it's simple or whatever, but it's not, because you got to kind of know a little bit about how resistors react. All right. Yeah. And so let's just talk about this portion of it for a second. This is your switch. When you turn your button on, your cruise control, that little button, that's opening and closing that switch. So when it's on, it's going to close that switch. So you're making a connection there, and it's going to pass through this resistor right here, and it's going to go off to the BCM and tell the BCM that you've got your switch in the on position. So in order to make your cruise work, then you have to have it in the on position, and then you're going to hit your set button. So when you hit your set button, then this switch is going to close, and it's going to make contact. And the way their wiring diagram looks, it's passing through 2 resistors, and it goes and sends a signal off to your BCM. So same thing for the reset. And then this has a cancel button also. We don't have a cancel button on a 1984 pickup, so we won't do the cancel in this truck, but we will put the wire in there just in case. And then other people that are watching this, if they want to use the cancel for whatever they're swapping, yeah, then it'll work for them, okay?
Okay.
But we're gonna go through wiring up this thing, and I'm going to give you the secret numbers that you need to make it work.
Yeah.
Okay?
We did the math for you.
Yes. So we'll go through and we'll do that, and I'll explain it a little bit. I took an ohm meter and measured my 2 wires. There's a pink wire and a gray wire. I just put an ohm meter to it, and I measured my resistance with the button on. With the button turned on, it was 6.82 k ohms. Okay. Okay. So 6,820 ohms. And if you're measuring this stuff on your own, make sure you're paying attention to that it's not 6 ohms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You gotta know what you're actually dealing with. It's a big difference between 6 ohms and 6,000 ohms. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where if you're using a multimeter that automatically switches, that can get kind of confusing.
When I test something like this, I make sure I use my multimeter that I have to actually change. It's kind of like a cheaper one that I have actually.
Yeah.
But that way I know when I touch my test leads to something and I don't have a reading on it, then I know I'm on the wrong scale or I have an open circuit. But that helps me make sure my resistance measurements are okay.
Yeah.
All right. My other multimeters do it too, but they do it automatically, and I have to look at the little symbols, the K's, and just so I know exactly what it is. But the way we're going to do it today, you won't even have to use an ohm meter. Okay?
Yeah.
If you don't want to, because I'm going to give you all the information.
Yeah, we're going to cheat.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to give you the cheat sheet.
Ooh.
Okay? Maybe everybody will become a member after this.
Ooh.
And I can retire. So what did I do? To come up with my numbers, I'll just do a real quick. These are the two wires, the pink power wire, and the gray lead is the signal wire. And it comes up with 6.77 K ohms. All right? I don't know why it's 677 now, but it was 6.82, so I went with that. Maybe because it's a little cooler out today, I don't know. This is a 2011. This is a 2007. I measured them both, and they both measured exactly the same, so I know that my readings are correct, okay?
Okay.
So with the button on, it was 6.82K. Hit the set button for me, will you? Okay. And the set button measures 2.32. So hit the resume button. And it's 3.78. So that's how I came up with that number. For resume, the 2.33 for set, and then cancel is...
Yeah.
All right. So, easy, right?
Yeah.
All the person's got to do is make some resistance and come up with those numbers when we're done. And everything's perfect, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, wrong. Nope, it's not like that, okay? And the reason for it not being that way is because you've got your switch in the on position, so you've got current passing through here. It's going to pass through this resistor. And for your cruise to be on, that switch always has to be in the on position. And then you're going to hit your set button and make that connection. So you've got current passing through this resistor, and you also have current coming through this connection. And the way they do it, it's passing through two resistors there. So the problem is when you're running two resistors through a parallel circuit, basically, it changes that resistance value. So say if you had two 6 K ohm resistors and you ran them parallel, it comes out to about half. Okay, so you would have about 3 K ohms running it through two 6 K ohm resistors.
Okay.
Does that make perfect sense?
No.
I know. And we're not trying to split it in half, and it doesn't really work that way. So we have to figure out a relay that is going to end us up with that resistance, but it's passing through this relay, or passing through this resistor, and also passing through that resistor.
Okay.
Okay? And I've already done that. If you would like to find out how I figure that out, that'd be probably something for another day. I'd love to have a whole bunch of people interested in how we go about doing that. And there's a few ways to do it. If you're a math genius, you could do it, but I'm definitely not a math genius.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a formula for it or something.
Yeah. So we're going to do up some wires, and basically we're going to make 3 wires or 4 wires that have a resistor in series in it, and we'll come along and I'll give you the magic numbers of what you need for a resistor value for each one of those circuits, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's wire it up. All right, so I didn't know what I was going to come up with for values for my resistors, so I've got a set of a whole bunch of them. Preferably, I just have one to wire in series in that circuit and then make it work that way. But in this case, I'm having to double up a couple of them to get the value that I want. You can, once you have these numbers, you could go buy just one of them and you're good to go, you know?
Yeah.
So one resistor in each wire that we do and you'd be okay. But I had to do it this way just because we did not know in the beginning, okay?
Okay.
All right, so our first wire, what we're gonna do is, let's do our power wire first, okay? And this one, we know when just the on switch is on, all three of these are open, so that 6.82 k ohms is exactly what we wanted to see, okay? So it doesn't matter any of those three. We're just gonna make that wire have 6.82 k ohms. We'll do that one out of red, and I'm gonna make them super long because we're gonna have to run from the body control module over to the switch. So just by chance, I do have just a single 6.8 k ohm resistor, and we are going to do some soldering today.
Yay.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to use what's called a heat sink on this, and I only have one of them. I wish I had another one. But make sure my wires are not poking straight out to where it's going to come out of the heat shrink. But I'm going to go ahead and solder it up. All right, and because it's the power wire, okay, it comes out and it ends up being a gray wire here that goes to 3. So I'm gonna go red to gray. Oh, the little heat sink. It's a little aluminum thing that clamps onto that. It just keeps whatever you're working with cooler so it doesn't get ruined. I don't think it's probably that critical on this one, but doesn't hurt. Okay?
Okay.
Resistors do not have polarity. They go either direction, so it doesn't matter. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and heat shrink it because it is kind of flimsy.
Yeah, the teeny tiny little wire.
Emily's hair dryer's getting a workout today. And as I go through each one of these, I'll solder each one of my wires together, and then I'm going to double check it and make sure I've got a good connection and make sure my resistance is correct, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to find out when I'm putting it in the truck. Okay, so 6.73. And these resistors are plus and minus
5%.
5%. Yeah. So I could go through if I needed to, I could go through my resistors and measure each one of them and find the one that's closest to what I want. But that 6.7, what, 7?
7.3, I think it was.
7.3? Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll work. 6.76 is what I see, so.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I changed the leads on my thing.
Oh.
And I bet you
okay.
Because the other one, I thought, got damaged, so that's probably the difference.
Oh.
All right. So our red wire, that's this one then. It'll get wired to the switch to supply power to it. The power that we're going to get to go to that switch is going to come off a pin 17 in connector 1 on the body control module. And then, so there's the resistor that we just did, and it is going to end up going to the signal return. So let's do resume next, all right? And it's not a 3.8K resistor that we need. It is a 8.5K resistor that we need, and I'll show you why, all right?
Okay.
If we did a 380 3.8K one, and then it's running in parallel with this one, we would not end up having 3.8K resistance when I hit resume.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it ends up being more, it comes out to somewhere around the set value.
It's quite a bit less.
Yeah, okay. So let's wire that one up and we'll fill these numbers in as we go. But we're gonna do 8.5K ohms. I'm gonna do the resume wire in purple. And I do not have a 8.5K resistor, so I had to make 8.5K, and the way I'm going to do it is I have a 4.7K, and I also have a 3.3K, so that would come up to 8K ohms.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add another 510 ohms to it.
Okay.
Okay, so all three of those would add up to 8.5K ohms. And this is where I wish I had an 8.5K resistor, so I didn't have to do three of them together, but it doesn't hurt to put them together. It's just a little more work, which I don't like.
Yeah.
The next one, I'll go through all this trouble and check it, and I probably grabbed the wrong one.
No.
Too bad I don't have a tiny, tiny, tiny solder butt connector.
You said butt. I didn't know if we were going to get any butt jokes in here today.
Okay, one more, right?
Yep.
Alright, so my 510 ohm resistor. So, this time I'm going to continue it off with a purple one, just so I know exactly what that one's doing. Need tiny hands. Cover it up with some heat shrink. Maybe about that long.
And so doing 3 in a row like that in series, it doesn't affect the value of the resistors. It's just when you put them side by side in parallel.
Yep, that's correct. Set it up there. Can you read it still?
Is it a short joke?
Okay, so this is our resume wire, and I'm gonna check my connections here, see what we got. All right, 8.41 K ohms, and we were shooting for 8.5, so that's good. But we needed it to be 3.8 in order to set a resume.
Okay.
But remember, it's running in parallel with the power circuit, the on-off button. So now I'm going to check it. I'm going to check the resistance of those two circuits in parallel. And what we hope to have is somewhere around 3.80. And we have 3.74. So that's good there. So our purple resume one, it's good. Let's do our set button, okay? When we measured it, it come out, we want our end result to be 2.33 K ohms. We figured it up. we are going to have to put 3.50 ohms in there to make that happen. Alright, so let's do that one out of blue wire. I don't have a 3.5K resistor, so I'm going to use a 3.3, and then I'm going to add a 220 ohm resistor, so that'll come up to 3.520K ohms. Oh, looks good too. Right?
Very nice.
Very nice. I'm a better solderer than I am welder.
It's like micro welding. Oh no.
Ooh, perfect.
Ooh, sweet. Oh no. Oh no. Oh gee.
Oh, this is our set wire. And let's check it both ways. We could just check it in parallel, and that would, we'll just do that to save time. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if it works in parallel with the power circuit, then we know it's all okay.
Yep. As long as we get the right end result.
Yep. So we're shooting for 2.3, somewhere around there. Okay. We got 2.27.
Okay.
All right, so set wire is done.
Yay.
Okay, cancel. We don't have a cancel button on this 84 truck, but I'm gonna put the wire in there just in case, because this will work on any swap that you're doing. You can add cruise control to what would you?
Like a go-kart.
A Volkswagen thing.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Or one of those original Honda Civics.
There's one on Marketplace, actually.
Yeah. So we're gonna put in a 2 ohm or 2K ohm resistor on this one, and that will end up giving us our 1.5K running in parallel with the other. And I actually do have a 2K resistor, so this one's just going to have one of them in it. All right, back after a little camera difficulty. I went ahead and I just soldered this one up. I got to put some heat shrink over it, and we are done making our wires, which is kind of sad. It was a lot of fun. Right?
Good times.
Okay, so let's check this one now. And we're supposed to have, it's a 2K resistor. Let's just go ahead and check it in parallel with my other one. And we're hoping that it measures 1.5K. What we got? 1.51. Okay.
Okay.
Closest one yet. The one that we're not going to use. And it's the closest one. I'm going to put my wires together just to organize up here a little bit, and then we'll get to the board. Oh no.
Oh goodness.
All right, so my red wire, this one here, we got that one done. We got our resume done. That's our purple wire. These are our colors. We made them what we want. Our set is a blue, and then green is cancel, which we're not going to use, but I'm going to have it in that wiring loom anyway, okay?
Okay.
And we can we'll make sure that it works when we get to that point here in just a few minutes.
Okie dokie.
All right. Now, we've got 4 wires sticking out here, and we need just 1 wire sticking out here. There's just going to be one of these wires that goes to the pin number 3 and connector 1 of the body control module. So we are going to tie all 4 of these wires together, and then it'll just have one lead that comes from it.
Okay.
So those 4, hopefully it'll go into a blue. All right. Yeah, real nice. Okay, and I want my wire that comes out to be gray. I'll make it kind of long, okay? Doesn't hurt. Use some wire.
Yeah, better to have extra than not have enough.
Yep.
There it goes. Now I see it.
Let's put some heat shrink over that. So there we have our wiring loom, okay?
Okay.
Our one gray wire that's coming out. We still have 4 basically that are going in. Let's organize that a little. Here's our power, the red one. Purple, resume. You know what we're going to do next after I do this?
Check everything?
Yep, we're going to check it again. My gray, return, and set it in there. Should have a good connection, right?
Sure.
Our red one, we want about 6.82 ohms, and we have 6.73.
Okay.
So the resume then is going to pass parallel with that. So we're going to hold those 2 together. And we have 3.76. We were shooting for 3.8, so that's very close.
Okay.
Next we wanted our set button, which is blue. So we'll get rid of the purple one. Blue to red. 2.29, and we wanted 2.33, so it is very close.
Okay.
And our cancel, which we are not going to use, we did that in green, but somebody else out there might want to use it. And it's supposed to be 1.5 K ohms, and we have 1.53 K ohms.
Okay.
Okay. So everything in my wire harness is okay. Checks out good. I'm going to put some heat shrink on it.
Okay.
Kind of organize it a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not going to be this long once I get it all done under the dash. We're just kind of doing this to, it'll clean it up for me right now for doing a video. Look a little nicer and be easier to work with. And then once we get down underneath the dash, we'll be cutting everything to length.
Make it work and then make it look pretty.
Yeah. There you have it, all done. Okay, so let's talk about this. All right. Oops, sorry. I always do that to you, don't I? Okay, that's an LED light bulb. That's a symbol for an LED. The little switch has an LED right in there, so that comes on, you know, when you have it in the on position. So you could absolutely do that. You could add an LED bulb to it. You want to make sure it's an LED bulb, one that takes very, very, very low current. So your resistance value doesn't change any out here. But if you thought you were going to get crafty and come out here on the end of this one and put like a relay in it to run something else, like to turn a light bulb on or to communicate with like the digital dash to give it its negative signal, something like that. The most resistors or relays have like about 80 ohms in them between pin 85 and 86. And if you did something like that on this circuit, or if you added anything in here, you would screw up the values of these resistors. Okay, so you do not. You want to go into it going, am I going to put a bulb in it? If I am, great. I'll get a really small LED bulb. It couldn't be anything but an LED bulb. Or if you were going to run a relay off of this, then we'd have to come up with some different figures for that, which I'm going to do on the next truck that I do, because I want the Dakota Digital Dash, the light to come on when I turn cruise on, okay? So that'll be a video for another day. We'll do that probably when we do dash, okay?
Okay.
So, but today we're going to get the cruise control working. This truck is definitely not going to have that light bulb. And like I said, whatever you do, don't think about adding anything into this circuit either, okay?
Okay.
Don't think you're going to tap into it, because anything that you tap into it on is going to have resistance to run it and screw everything up.
Yes.
Okay?
And that would be bad.
So the only thing our wires are going to do is just run this cruise control system. So let's wire it up to the body control module at this point, and then we'll check it and make sure it works with a scan tool, and then we'll get into wiring it into the truck.
Cool.
All right? All right, body control module. This is the body control module out of a 2011 Silverado. It's worked on the air conditioning. It'll work on the cruise control too, I'm sure. This is a splitter that I made to do the air conditioning. I'm gonna go plug it into the OBD connector. And these two wires here are my GM LAN plus and minus. Gotta have that. That's why I left my wires so long, because I'll just leave this laying here. That splitter, I can plug my scan tool into it. We use all data.
Yeah.
It's wireless, just so.
Yeah, we have people ask about our scan tool sometimes.
So on my body control module, I've got my pink wire that comes out. It supplies power to that switch, and then I've got my gray, and that's the return signal wire.
Okay.
Okay, and I got the pins up on the board. This is a 2009.
Make sure you check on exactly what yours is.
Yep. So my wire harness. So I have my wiring. We're gonna forget about the switch right now until we wire it up. So we're just gonna go with our one red wire. We're gonna tie it to our power wire off of our BCM, and we gotta supply ground and power to it still. But we'll go ahead and do that. This is where the switch would come in, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll wire that here in a little bit. My test lead for my positive, I'm going to add power to my body control module. Going to add a ground for it. So my body control module, it's got power now. We've got our cruise control supply voltage going to the pink wire on connector 1, and then we have our gray wire that is going to be our signal return. Okay. So it's going to go to that one. We'll just do that for now. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is make sure this wire works. Okay, so we're taking where the on-off switch would be, and we're going directly to this wire, and I'm just doing that to check and make sure it sees that signal. Okay, so that resistance signal is working. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll do that in the powertrain is where that's going to show up, and live data. Okay, so cruise on-off switch. Okay, Right now it says it's on, okay?
Okay.
And if we say this was our switch, our on-off switch, it's gonna lose its connection right there, okay? And it goes to off.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna put it back on there. So now it's on. And now we have to go to the body control module and look at it and see what it's doing for the rest of it. They couldn't put it all on one spot in the scan tool. So we'll switch to the body control module. So come up here, find cruise control switch. Okay. So that's what we need to look at. Oh man, it says off. I left it on, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
All right, so I got my red one. My power one's always on there with the switch in the on position, basically. And I'm going to touch my resume wire to it. I'm going to supply power to it, and we'll see what that says when I touch it. Okay, place your bets.
Resume.
Okay, so that one works. Our next one was the set button. I'm going to apply power to it. And what's it say?
Set.
Awesome. So the green one, that's our cancel button. And we're not going to use it anyway, but we'll see if it works.
Cancel.
Cancel.
Okay.
Okay. There you have it.
Yep.
Okay. So it works. We know it's doing what it's supposed to do now at this point, but now we just got to wire it into the truck, make sure the brake signals are correct on it, and it's going to have cruise control.
Oh, so he's not going to have to like just hold those two wires together to make his cruise work?
No.
Oh.
No, that would be ridiculous. Okay. And the reason I did this, because I'd rather do this and see it do what it's supposed to do on the scanner before I go through the trouble of wiring it into the truck. So I know it all works now. And then if you don't have a scan tool like this, that's why I'm showing you, because I just gave you all the numbers that you need to know. And if it's done correctly, it'll work, okay?
It'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to wiring it into the truck.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna go and we're gonna start connecting to our new 84 switch, okay? You can buy these, by the way, for anything. Like if you want to put cruise control on your 1956 Chevy pickup, whatever you have swapped, if it has an LS in it, if it has these electronics in it the way we have, you can absolutely buy an indicator with a cruise on them. I see them for sale all the time.
Yep.
They're aftermarket, you know, but I don't know what year cruise control came around, but R74 did not come with cruise control, could not come with cruise control, but it will have cruise control.
Yes.
Okay. And it'll look factory.
Yep.
Also, I mentioned earlier, these are different years. This is actually 2012 and 2007, different wire colors on them. All right. But they both do the exact same thing, but different wire colors. So you gotta watch that.
Yes.
What are we gonna do now? We're gonna go underneath the dash and we are going to supply power to this thing. This thing only has 4 wires, and the one for the 84 that's already in it, same thing. It comes down off the steering, underneath the steering column, and it plugs into a little connector that connects it to 4 larger wires that are easier to manage, you know. So we're going to go down and we're going to find the power wire that's already going to the on-off switch, and we're going to cut it. We're not going to use the switch from the original cruise control in this truck. We're only going to use this circuit. So we're going to go find that wire. We're going to cut it. We'll use it when we get to the brake system here in just a second, but we'll have power going to that. And then this, like I said, it's got 4 wires total. So that's 1 wire, the power wire. And so then it's going to have an on wire, which is going to be this one. And then the other one's going to be our resume. and the other one will be our set wire. And we don't have the ability to put cancel in here because these older things did not have cancel. Okay. So let's do that. We'll get underneath the dash, find that plug, cut that wire, and run power to the new or the new old switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
The new old switch.
The new old switch. And I'm going to do the whole thing with just a test light. I'm going to act like I don't have a wiring diagram for it for colors because, like I said, this would work on anything.
Yeah.
And you can just figure it out with a test light, and that's what we will do. All right. So, into the truck.
Into the truck.
All right. So this is that connector that I was talking about. It's the one that goes down and just connects into this connector to make the wires come out a little bigger, okay? GM, that pink wire right there, I bet you that's going to be the power wire. All right, so I'm going to probe it, and got to turn the key on, and sure enough, that's the power wire, okay? It has power with the button in the off position and the on position, so it's the power wire. So I'm going to check my other 3 wires right now. I got a gray one, a green one, and a blue one. Okay, and I don't have anything. So while I have it hooked up still, I'm going to find out which wires do what. So my gray one here, I'm going to turn the button on. Okay, I got power now with my on button on. I'm going to try it by shutting it off, and it goes off. Okay, so gray is the other end through the switch. All right, so let's see what the green does with the button on. Okay, the green one is the resume button. Okay, so green's resume, and our blue one here is the set button. Okay.
Okay.
Pushing the button, and there it is. That's set.
Yep.
All right. So remember, well, actually, I can cut this whole plug because we can go and we can do it outside and not have to be underneath here. Okay.
Okay.
So gray is going to be our power. We don't have to. Or pink used to be the power. Okay.
Okay.
And it's not going to be anymore. We're probably going to use it on the brakes, possibly, or we may not use it at all.
Okay.
So, but we can take this plug out and do it outside.
Oh.
Okay. So back to the cart. So this is the plug that goes down to or goes to the switch. Okay. Just happen to have another one here. So we're plugging into that. We'll use this switch basically to check everything, okay? We're not going to use, which one? The cancel? Green?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just cut that. We'll fold it over. Put some heat shrink around it and just forget about that one. But it'll be in the harness in case we ever needed it for something, okay?
Okay.
All right. Our pink wire, that was the power leading into the switch. We won't do that anymore because we need to run power from the BCM to this one. So we're going to go to the red wire. And we're going to put the red wire to the gray wire with the switch turned on. The gray wire was the one that was hot, okay?
Okay.
So that's like turning the switch on.
That's like saying, hey, maybe I might want to cruise here in a minute.
Yeah, it's time to cruise. Should have done some research on the first, when the cruise control first come around. It was probably like a some kind of a block or something on the wheel.
No, really. Just a brick for the pedal.
Maybe like a motorcycle. A motorcycle cruise control, they used to be just a little friction thing that you put on the throttle. Wouldn't work very well in a car.
No, that sounds scary.
Yeah. Go. All right, so I'm sure you remember which was which, right? The green was resume?
I believe so, yes.
Yep, okay. So our resume, we did purple, right?
Yeah.
Almost be able to do most of this without having to get under the dash until I go and clean it up. We don't have to do that and force people to watch that.
It's relaxing time upside down under the dash for a few hours. Ooh, you know, like when you have like a big lunch.
Oh, it does help. Taco Bell.
Ooh, a Taco Bell and a Baja Blast.
Maybe some Hot Pockets.
Love a good Hot Pocket.
That one cooled down a second. And I didn't do that on purpose, but my blue one is actually going to the blue wire. How in the world did that happen?
Oh man. It's probably like a subconscious thing. You've done it so many times, your brain just knows.
Sure.
It feels like a blue wire.
Bugs. Alright, so let's add a length of red wire that is going to go from here, and it is going to, that wire, it's going to basically be coming from the on-off switch, and it's going to connect to our pin 17 X1 on the body control module. We'll get these done, and then you know what we'll do?
Check it again.
Check it again. There. That works good. Okay. Okay, so this red wire, it is that one, okay?
Okay.
It's going up to the switch. Then when you turn the switch on, that power will end up coming to this one, okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and then that one goes to, that'll all end up at our gray wire, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Huh?
It's confusing.
Yeah. All right, so let's check our wiring again. I know I'm crazy, but when you've screwed up as many times as I have, you learn to double check it. So now we won't have to touch those wires together because our switch is doing what we want.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and just connect that. Put it on 20K ohms. So my switch right now is in the off position. I'm going to turn it on. We have 6.77 ohms.
Sweet.
K ohms, all right. I'm going to hit the resume button. We have 3.75 K ohms, and that's what we wanted, right? Close enough. And the set button, 2.29, and I think we were looking for 2.33.
Yes.
All right, so there you go. We got that working.
Sweet.
And this is not for this truck. It's just one that I had sitting around. It's compliments of Brian, actually.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah. Let's bring the body control module out here, and we'll just do it out here. We'll make this connection out here.
Okay.
Okay, red one. Red one off of our BCM.
And that one is pin 17 on X1. connector 1.
Correct. The pink wire, actually, that I cut off of the other end of that, it was hot in key on, and this is primarily the cruise control. So I can run this wire to that wire, and that will fire up our body control module in running start.
Sweet.
We'll have to do that under there. The gray wire, we can do this one also. It's the return wire.
This one's pin 3 on the same connector, right?
Yes, pin 3, gray. Cruise signal return. Alright, so most of that's going to get cut off, but now this just plugs into the switch at the bottom of the steering column. The 2 connections are done at the BCM, and now we've got to make our brakes work.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make another drawing. All right, now we got to get into making sure the brakes are working the way they're supposed to. Not the actual brakes, the brake lights, okay? These things have to have a signal from 2 different switches. One of them is normally closed. One of them is normally open. In this case, this truck actually has a switch that is like that. So this back one here is normally closed. This one here is normally open. That's your actual brake light switch. When that is released, then there's a connection on that one, and then the connection on that one breaks. So then that's open, okay?
Okay.
And I like using those when they have them down there, just because they make that connection and disconnect at the exact same time.
Yeah.
You don't have to time it at all. It just kind of does it for you.
Yeah.
And it's nice and compact, okay? The normally open switch is your regular everyday brake light switch, and it's the one that closes, and it runs your brake lights and your CHMSL, your center high mount stop lamp. So it goes to pin or connector X1 in the ECM, pin 9, and this one is actually done because it was done to make the torque converter lock up already, okay?
Okay.
So we will talk about this one a little bit because there are some other little tricks to it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's go wire this one. I already, on my BCM, one of them connects to connector number 3 on the BCM. I added a bunch of length to it already. So all I got to do is get down under where I want to attach it, and we'll hook it up, okay?
Okay.
What a mess, huh? All right, so I initially come down here and I cut the pink wire and I cut the gray wire, okay? And those with the cruise control switch on made a connection, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna use a butt connector and butt those together again. And that is going to make this switch work again for me, okay? Because right now with the key on, there's no power going to it because I cut that gray wire.
Okay.
So I'm gonna connect them, then I'll have power there. Blue one. And then what I'll do is tie these together like this, and then I will just run my BCM power to this one also. All right. Alright, so now with the key on, I will get power to one of these gray wires, probably the double gray there. Okay, so here we go. There you go. Alright, so that's going to be the power for that second normally closed brake light switch.
Okay.
So that'll be the wire that's going to go to my purple one. Some length on it. So my purple wire from my BCM, you want to hand it to me? Alright, we'll be cruising in no time. Ooh, maybe we'll take this to Carney Cruise. Be great to take this baby out on Carney Cruise and drive by and Mark standing there.
What we're using is cooler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were making fun of its cooler, but Chevy Kev just told us that it's not it's not nothing to make fun of. It's a
highly sought after cooler.
I guess so.
Yeah, I am going to redo all this stuff, okay? So don't panic.
Yeah.
But if we had to do a video while I made all the wiring look nice, the video would be 10 hours long.
Yes.
All right, so there you have it. I've got my one done already. Okay, it's already done going to the computer ECM, and then this is going to be my normally closed switch. Okay.
Okay.
So now I have to adjust it. What's so funny?
This is where we need like a behind the scenes cam. So you
Yeah,
can
really.
see both of us in the floorboard with a camera and a light.
Yep. Okay, so my normally closed is going to be, see, like right there, I got no connection. So I'm gonna push it in until I have it, okay? So I got a connection. So that's normally closed. I'm gonna apply the brake. There it opens up. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So as long as my brake lights aren't on right now, then we're good. Okay. So the brake lights are not on. So everything's taken care of for my switch then. While I'm down here, I'm going to go ahead and just hook the power up for my body control module. I'm going to hook it up to this one.
Okay.
Okay. Alright, so that's our power.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just throw it over there for now.
Yeah.
Alright, another thing. This is a vacuum switch, but it's also a normally closed switch, but it was for the lockup torque converter on these trucks. So you might run into one of these down there, and it mounts right next to the brake switch one. And you can use those also as the normally closed switch, but I don't. I like to just use the one brake switch, and then I just take this one out and I just put it in my brake switch collection.
Ooh.
Okay, because it's not going to need it for locking up the torque converter anymore.
No.
I hope. So our brake's done. We got power going to our BCM. Ground next. I've got just a makeshift clamp on ground over there. So I'm gonna bring it down here and just clamp it onto the emergency brake lever. Would be a good spot for it. And then all we have to do right now is plug our switch in. Okay. So on the other end of my line, the plug that I made for the cruise control. Okay. So just like the one out there that we were doing on the cart, this is the original one from this truck. It mounted down there. I think we saw it when we pulled it out of there, right?
Yeah.
For now, I'm just gonna roll it around here and plug it in. Okay.
Okay.
Live data, group types, brake pedal switch. Okay, closed. Let me see what that one does when I apply the brake. Okay.
Okay. Open?
Go.
Closed.
All right, so we've got it all wired up inside. The next thing to do is to take it for a drive. On a Gen 3, I'm able to actually plug my scan tool into it, and it'll give me an idea that it's going to work, okay? Gen 4, not like that. So we're pretty confident it's going to work, but the only way to find out is to take it for a ride. So let's go do that, okay?
Let's do it.
All right, you're going to drive?
No.
Oh. All right, should we close the hood?
Oh, I suppose. Like your wire collection.
Well, that's going to get in the way.
Yeah. I don't know if Mark's going to like that or not.
Not much leg room.
Okay, so how fast do you have to be going to set the cruise?
45, we're going like 50 right now. Or get on the straightaway up here and then we'll try it, okay? I'll do it on the straightaway just in case, because if it won't disengage, then that'll give us some time to think about it and figure out how we're going to get the truck to stop.
Oh, good.
Like my old station wagon. My old station wagon, I used to just leave the windows down in it, and you'd be driving down the road, and then Cruise would just engage on its own.
That's handy.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. So you'd have to ride the brakes all the way to work. All right, I turn the switch on, okay? It's in the on position. I'm gonna hit the set button. No foot.
Okay. We're cruising.
It's holding right at 55. I'm gonna hit the resume button. That should increase its speed 1 mile per hour for every time you hit the button.
Yeah. Sweet.
Now we're doing 60. And my foot is not on the accelerator pedal. It was nice of him to bring a truck to me and not put any gas in it. We're running on empty right now. That's going to cost him. Alright, so I'm going to hit the sub button. The sub button will drop it down 1 mile per hour just like it does on anything else. So I'm going to drop her down to 55. There you have it.
Sweet.
Okay. We'll turn around and we'll have it pull us up the hill here. Okay, so now we'll see if the resume works, okay? I'm just gonna, I left the switch on and I hit the resume button and there it goes. It takes off. Bring it back up to whatever we were at last, which was like 55. Now that's cruising.
That is cruising. I like it.
Okay, so this time I'm going to try to shut it off and just turning the off button on, okay?
Okay.
We're off in the off position. So it's off.
There we go.
So I didn't have to hit the brake. That'd be kind of the same thing as a cancel button, I guess.
Yeah.
Although now it's not going to remember what speed it was at when it shut off. You'll have to set it again, but that's not that big of a deal. Gen 4 with cruise control, LS swap, right?
Pretty sweet.
I love it. Couple things, okay? We'll go over a couple little hidden secrets about the Gen 3 and the Gen 4 stuff. So I'll give you a couple other little tips too, okay?
Okay.
All right, but everything that we've done so far today and done this, cruise works, okay? Now, if you're working on something and you're not using the actual brake lights, if you're not tying into them, you may have to add a resistor, okay?
Okay.
This connection busts off and it goes through your brake lights, your CHMSL, and then it hits ground, okay? So that's a source of resistance right there, that all those lights that it goes through. And without it, the Gen 3, and I don't know for sure about the Gen 4 yet, because I haven't done one like that.
Yeah.
This one is tied into the brake lights, okay? So that problem's taken care of for me. But if you drive your truck and you don't have cruise control, I would take a look at that and possibly think about having to add some resistors to that. And it would just be a matter of one of these to ground and tied to the other side of this circuit, right into there. And these do get hot. I do my best not to use them. I always try to just tie it into the brake lights. But if you can't, you may have to put a resistor in them, okay?
Okay.
And if you run these two in series, they'll get less hot, okay?
Yeah.
So I usually use two of them when I have to do it, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the other thing, somebody's gonna tell me, so we've got a resistor in there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna say, well, you can't cover up a resistor in with some heat shrink in that. And that's true if the resistor is gonna get hot. You can't do that, okay? So if we had our other picture up here again, the on switch that's got 6.8 kilo ohms of resistance, that one I measured the amperage, or I tried to measure its amperage on it, and I couldn't measure it. It was so small, okay? And I usually, my multimeters go down to 2 milliamps, okay? So very, very, very small amperage going through that giant resistor. So if you wanted to figure out your, like how much wattage you're using, basically, what is passing through that resistor and ending up at its ground, basically, you would take your voltage and you would multiply it by your amperage. And in this case, on these, I wasn't even able to come up with a number for the amperage. So there's hardly anything going through them, and they're not going to get hot, and it works just fine, okay? If you weren't comfortable doing that, you could buy yourself a breadboard or a circuit board, solder those into a circuit board. They make pretty cool little ones with a little plastic, box that you can put them in, and make a little self-contained
module, kind of.
Yeah, module, making your own module, kind of. So you can do that, but and then also when I'm not sure about something like that, if I don't trust something, so I'll take in what I did with that 6.8K ohm resistor. I ran it like this, and I hooked it to a battery for 12 hours. And I came back periodically. I'd walk by and I would grab the resistor. It didn't have I did it without the heat shrink on it. And I would periodically walk by and I'd touch it.
Yeah.
And see, if it was warm or not. And it wasn't hot at all. Couldn't tell a difference at all. So you absolutely can do that, as long as it's when you're talking a resistor that's got a lot of resistance. And these are high resistance when you're talking K ohms,
Yeah.
Okay? Not this. I would never ever put this in heat shrink. Okay?
Yeah. Shove that up under the dash.
Yeah, and I would never put it anywhere near something that was remotely flammable,
Yep.
Okay? And one of the other things, the one thing that gets me all the time, and it doesn't matter what it is, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 1, Gen 2, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Gen 3 and Gen 4. This switch, okay, however you do that, it has got to be timed pretty good. And I have gone down there and set these things up, and you know, getting in a little bit of a hurry and not realizing that this normally closed one was actually open, you know, when it shouldn't be. I didn't have things adjusted just right. So now when I do these, I'll adjust it, and then I go in there and I test it with a test light.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that it's okay, because I've taken them out and test driven them before and they did not work, and I was frustrated, and it just turned out to be that I had adjusted that incorrectly. Okay.
Yeah, because now adjusting that is more than just when do my brake lights come on.
Yeah.
You know, there's more to it now, so.
Yeah, that's what I've done in the past. I've had Emily walk to the back and go, tell me when the brake light goes off. So I adjust it, and then I'm like going, okay, well that's cool, it's gonna work. And then not thinking about that thing having to be normally closed, because if it's not closed and this one is open, so you've got this one open and that one open, it will not work.
Yeah.
Okay. That's one thing that's nice about the Gen 3 too, is like I can look at that on a scan tool, but I cannot look at that on on a Gen 4. And it might just be because it's a 2009 Tahoe. I'd maybe plug into a 2010 or 2012, and it may have a whole different list of things that I can look at when it comes to like the PIDs on the scan tool.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the most critical part of the whole thing, except for the ohms, you know, the resistors that we just did.
Yeah.
But there you go. I just gave you all the secrets, and now all you got to do is go and do that. Like I said, the one if you decided that you wanted to put a little light in, if you wanted to do that in that system, a LED light would be perfectly fine. It wouldn't affect the resistance on what we did, and it would work okay, no problem. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. You might be able to tell that I'm kind of a nerd, and I love this stuff, and I hope you do too, and I hope you tackle it and do it. And I want you to send us a message and just say, hey, I got cruise control on my Gen 4 today.
Yes, tell us all about it.
That makes us feel great.
Yep.
We love it.
Yep.
Okay? All right, I'm all done.
And we didn't even mention it, but this whole setup, wires, heat shrink, resistors, all of it is less than $50. So that makes a pretty sweet addition to any swap.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, I found it. It was over there.
You cut it out of that truck?
No, it was over there. It must have been an extra or something.
What are we going to do with an extra one?
Oh, I suppose we could give it away.
We're not giving that away, okay? It's a lot of work. I spent at least 30, 40 minutes doing that thing.
I know, and someone will appreciate it so much.
No, they won't. They won't even hit the subscribe button.
Well, I'm sure somebody out there could use it. So if this would come in handy on your Gen 4 swap, head on down to the comments and tell us all about what you're swapping, what your project is. And on our next live, we will give this away to one lucky commenter under this video. So head on down there, tell us what you got, and we will throw everybody's name in a bucket and draw a lucky winner on our next live. So make sure you are following us on Facebook and Instagram. I will post an announcement when we have a date set for that. As always, we appreciate you guys watching, and we will catch you next time. Oh, another grasshopper. Pepper, you're not very good at making friends.